And let's understand the writing module. Let's understand the overview of that particular part. So some couple of common questions which we have here. The first thing is, how much time do you get for the IELTS writing test? Yes, you get 60 minutes to complete the IELTS writing exam. And in those 60 minutes, you are required to complete 2 tasks. So because you have task 1 and task 2. So let me write this down. And task 2. Right. Okay. So can somebody tell me what is task 1 and task 2? Anybody who has any idea about that in one word? Okay. So task 1 is report writing in short. And task 2 is essay writing. All right. So these are the 2 tasks which you complete. And because we have 2 tasks, we need to understand whether something is more important than the other. So yes, there is a difference in weight in the amount of percentage each task carries. Task 2 comprises of 2/3 of your marks, which means nearly 66%. And task 1 comprises of 1/3 of your marks, which means nearly 33%. So obviously task 2 is twice as important as task 1. And because of the difference in weight, you need to assign your time accordingly. So in those 60 minutes, you will assign 20 minutes to task 1 and 40 minutes to task 2. So that is the advised time division, because these 2 tasks require that amount of time for planning, for execution, and the actual writing and checking also. So personally, I recommend completing task 1 in 15 minutes and completing task 2 in about 30 or 35 minutes, let's say. So keep the last 10 minutes towards the end to correct your answers, to replace certain words, and to check your work, right? And last one is how many words you should write. Yes, for task 1, you're required to write a minimum of 150 words. And for task 2, you're required to write a minimum of 250 words. Of course, that is the lower limit of the word count. You are advised to write a bit higher than that. So aim to write about 260 to 80 words, even 300 if you can, that's okay. But try to not go down or go up to 400, 450 words, because that defeats the purpose of the number which is mentioned there. Let's understand the marking criteria. How are you evaluated on test day for the writing task? So the IELTS writing task 2, this is the chart which the examiners keep in front of them while evaluating your essay. So you can see that there are four components to this. And depending on how well you fulfill each component, you are assigned a band score. So this goes down all the way to 0. So from 0 to 9, 9 being the highest, is the mark you can get, right? So of course, this looks a bit complicated. Let me simplify this and explain these points to you, because they're important to know. When you attempt a writing task, you need to know what the examiner is marking you on, right? So that you can fulfill that parameter and you can score well. So let's understand those parameters. The first one is task response. Task response has 3 main points in which you need to write upon, you need to focus on. The first thing is to write on topic. So of course, when a particular topic or a subject is given to you, you need to ensure that you are writing on topic and not deviating too far from it, right? So write on topic. The second point which we need to remember is to answer the question correctly. So depending on the question which is asked, whether it's advantage, disadvantage, problem solution, opinion or not, you need to remember what is asked. You need to answer that specific question appropriately, right? So answer the question. And the third point is word count. These are the 3 parameters which fall under task response. You need to fulfill all these parameters to get a good score in task response. Let's talk about the second one, coherence and cohesion. And let me simplify this and call this as structure and flow. So just a second, let me write this down. So any idea what is structure and flow? Can someone tell me what this probably would be about? Anyone? Grace, any idea? Because you have given the exam before.
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, I give the exam, but ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Let me explain this to you. Absolutely nothing to worry about. So structure and flow refers to the overall format, the organization of your ideas and your paragraphs, right? So let's just say we write an essay which has 4 paragraphs. So we begin with the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion, right? So how well your essay is divided into paragraphs and how well the paragraphs are connected to each other is structure, right? How well the ideas are flowing throughout the essay is structure. And let's say if I pull out one paragraph and I take a closer look at that, I look into detail and I zoom into each paragraph now, how well the sentences are connected to each other, what is the organization of the paragraph itself is called the flow. So the movement of ideas from one point to another on a small and the larger overall level is called structure and flow. So this is very important that your essay is quite organized and well written and well structured on test day. So let me write this down. This is structure and flow, coherence and cohesion. All right. Let's talk about the third parameter of marking, which is lexical resource. This is straightforward and simple. Vocabulary is what lexical resource is about. All right. So the kind of words you use, how topic related they are, how are they describing your ideas, all of this falls under lexical resource. So you should aim to use a lot of topic related advanced words. If you find yourself using the words again and again, use synonyms in place of that. So all of that, the variety of words you showcase is lexical resource. And the final point now is grammatical range and accuracy. So there are two components in that. There is grammatical range and grammatical accuracy, right? So there are 2 points in this. Grammatical range refers to the variety of sentence structures you write on test day, which means that you need to include a lot of simple, complex, compound sentences, conditional sentences, questions if you can, active to passive voice. All of these varieties of sentence structures have to be included in your essay on test day, right? So the range which you demonstrate, the spectrum of that is grammatical range. Grammatical accuracy refers to the accuracy and precision of written grammar, which means that punctuation should be spot on, the tenses should be correct, the singular plural should be correct. All of these things start falling into the accuracy of your grammar which you're writing down. So please be careful with that. And let's understand the different varieties of opinion-based essays, how to identify them and what are the varieties. So how do you particularly understand what is given there, right? So first one is, what is your opinion? So there's a clear question, what is your opinion? And that's it. So you have the liberty to talk about your opinion very clearly without any bracket which they've given you. The second thing is, do you agree or disagree? So this is slightly different from the one before, because this one talks about the degree of agreement or disagreement, and we will tackle this in today's webinar. So let's go on and let's understand a few more things. Let's read the question prompt in particular. So you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. So this, what you see here, is the question prompt. This is what is your main focus for the day, right? People living in the 21st century have a better quality of life than people who lived in the previous times. What is your opinion? To what extent do you agree or disagree? Then you will see some more instructions here. Give reasons for your answer. Include any relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words. So what you see here are once again parameters for task response. These are instructions that are given to you and you need to fulfill that. So the first part and the second part remains constant in irrespective of any IELTS essay, right? And this is the part which changes. So let's take a closer look at the question itself and let's understand this. People living in the 21st century have a better quality of life when compared to people before. What is your opinion? To what extent do you agree or disagree? There are 3 parts in this. The first part is the general background statement, which gives you the context, the background and what you would write about, right? That's the background which you have. What is your opinion? To what extent? Now they're asking you for the degree of agreement or disagreement. They're asking you for your opinion till what range do you agree or disagree? And the third point is, do you agree or disagree? And that is where they're asking you your opinion, right? So to what extent do you agree or disagree? Let's move on to the next slide and let's understand this. When you have a question which says, what extent do you agree or disagree? You can have a range. Either you can fully agree, you can fully disagree, you can have a balanced, divided opinion, you can agree more, you can disagree more. So depending on what the question is and what your view is, you have to take a position, a stand from the very beginning before you start writing your essay. All right. So let's begin with the introduction paragraph, which is the first paragraph of your essay. So it begins by paraphrasing the question prompt. So any idea what is paraphrasing? It is writing the exact same sentence in different words, which conveys the same meaning. So in essence, you're rewriting the question prompt in your own words, which is ultimately conveying the exact same meaning as the question, right? So let me write this down. Right? So using synonyms and changing the structure helps you effectively paraphrase the question from them. That is the starting point of your essay. Because immediately when you take the first sentence and you in a way copy it, but you are creative with that and you're paraphrasing it, that becomes the link between your answer and the question. So that's the starting point of your essay, which follows later, right? The second thing which you need to do is you need to write a thesis statement. So a thesis statement is the answer to your instruction in 1 or 2 lines. That's it. So you are just briefly introducing your ideas, whatever your ideas are, whatever your opinion is, whatever you wish to answer answer the question directly. You'll write it in 1 or 2 lines only, right? So in the introduction paragraph contains 2 or 3 well-developed complex sentences, and with that your introduction paragraph is over. So it's a very short paragraph, and after that point you will move down to the body paragraphs now. So the body paragraphs are the second and the third paragraphs of your essay, and it is very important to remember how to structure and how to write down a body paragraph, because it's like a sandwich. So the introduction and the conclusion are the top and bottom part, but the actual material is in the middle. That's the core of your essay, which is the body paragraphs, where you start discussing in detail the ideas, the opinions, or the stands which you wish to take. So please be very clear with how to write a body paragraph. Please remember that one paragraph represents one idea only. So let's say we have a problem and solution question. So you should assign one paragraph to the problem and one to the solution, depending on how the question is asked, right? Each paragraph should have a central theme, a central core, a point which you're trying to make through that paragraph. So everything around that, everything in that paragraph revolves around making a particular point or a particular statement, right? So one paragraph has one particular idea and one particular theme around which everything is revolving, right? It begins with a topic sentence, which is the introduction to your paragraph. You will give extended reasons, explanations, details, and more supporting statements to once again support your main point. And you will further give backing with evidence, where you will provide examples for it. So you have to include examples. This is a requirement. If you miss this, you will lose marks on task response. So please make sure that your body paragraph, each paragraph has at least one explicit example which is supporting your point or your statement, right? And if you have the time or the space to write, you can also add a concluding statement to the paragraph. So once again, in one line, you will summarize what the entire paragraph is about, right? So your body paragraph will contain about 4 to 6 lines each, and that should be sufficient to convey your ideas. 4 to 6 sentences, I would say, right? Once that is done, we move down to the conclusion paragraph. Once again, the conclusion is a direct mirror of the introduction paragraph. So the exact same thing which you write on top, you're once again paraphrasing everything and writing in the bottom as well. The only difference here is, here you give a thesis statement where you're answering the question, and here in the concluding paragraph, you are summarizing the essay. So that's the only difference. First, you're introducing, and towards the end, you're summarizing and you're closing everything. You're tying things up, right? That's the only difference between the introduction and the conclusion paragraph. So once again, the conclusion will be about 2 or 3 sentences. These 2 or 3 sentences are well-developed, complex sentences which convey multiple ideas together in one sentence, right? So that's the number of sentences you can write. Okay, so let's move on and let's read a sample essay which I wrote, and let's understand. So let's talk about a full agreement essay, an essay which is fully in support of the fact that yes, today's day, what we live in, the quality of life is far better when compared to before. So let's start by reading the first paragraph. So can somebody please read this for me? The first one, the introduction paragraph, please.
It is undeniable fact that the world has been advancing rapidly since the beginning of this century. While some argue that the former times were better, others insist that people enjoy a rather convenient lifestyle today. In my opinion, I believe that due to the evolution of technology, there has been a strong enhancement in the well-being of humans.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's discuss this. What you see here is a 3-sentence introduction. The first part, right? It is undeniable. Once again, referencing my question from directly. This second statement is once again a paraphrase of my question itself. So the first and second sentences are directly paraphrased. That some people argue that the former times are better. People today, some other people believe that we have a convenient lifestyle. So once again, I'm giving two views directly taken from the question, right? And this is the third part, which is my thesis statement, where I'm answering the question that what is your opinion? To what extent do you agree or disagree? So I'm saying that due to the evolution of technology, there has been a strong enhancement in the well-being. So from the beginning, just by the introduction paragraph, if anybody who reads the introduction paragraph will know what my position is on this particular question or this particular topic, right? It's very clear from the beginning, and therefore the entire essay which follows is supporting and making that point for me, right? Let's move on to the first body paragraph. Let's read this. So can somebody please volunteer for this?
Firstly, having access to comprehensive healthcare system has significantly played a key role in boosting the lifespan of humans. The revolutionary developments in the medical science have drastically improved health assistance in the current society. For instance, there have been several epidemics throughout the history, and the fatality rate for diseases such as chlorella, plague, measles, and polio have been quite high. In contrast, due to the advancement in the medical science, these diseases have been nearly eradicated from the planet, while new diseases such as COVID-19 and monkeypox emerge occasionally. We are better prepared to tackle them efficiently with suitable scientific cures.
So can you tell me, or can all of you in fact tell me, what is the core of this particular paragraph? What is it that I'm focusing on? There is a certain point I'm trying to make.
Healthcare.
Healthcare. So absolutely right, Parvati. I'm talking about the importance of healthcare and how things have improved and how we are able to tackle diseases better than before. We have eliminated certain diseases altogether, and for others we have suitable cures. So it is a part of the quality of life which we're living, which has improved because we are not prone to diseases or deadly diseases as much as before, right? That is the point I'm trying to convey in the first body paragraph. Once again, let's discuss this sentence by sentence. My introduction sentence, my topic sentence. So firstly, having access to comprehensive healthcare systems have significantly played a key role in boosting the lifespan of humans. Anybody reading the first sentence of my paragraph will know that my paragraph is going to talk about healthcare. It's leading you to that point, and it's so you can start to see some structure, right? The introduction paragraph has 2 points, and under each paragraph there's an introduction sentence itself to lead you to the paragraph and the points there, right? Once again, a supporting statement that the revolutionary developments, once again supporting the same point that the healthcare systems have improved. After that, I give some more support, I give more evidence, and I say that, for instance, certain diseases which were present before have been eliminated now due to science, right? So this particular point is once again making my case stronger for the fact that I feel that healthcare systems have improved life in total. And my concluding statement here, that while new diseases still continue to emerge occasionally, we are better prepared than before to tackle them with scientific cures, right? Scientific medical support, which is there. So once again, this particular line is concluding my entire paragraph and summarizing that in one line. Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph and let's read this, please.
Secondly, the tools, gadgets, and engineering available in the present is pushing the boundaries of technological breakthroughs. High-speed transportation, gadgets, devices, and machines collectively contribute to the quality and convenience of life. For example, decades ago, traveling from Japan to Africa would have been a challenging weeks-long travel in a comparison to a comfortable flight which covers the same distance in just a few hours. Apart from devices and travel, the invention of the internet has truly changed the world in terms of information sharing, connectivity, communication, and data access. Such scientific involvement has resulted in unimaginable and heightened lifestyle benefits.
Okay. So can you all tell me what is the core which I'm addressing in the second paragraph, in the second body paragraph? There's a certain point around which everything is revolving. What do you think is that point?
Technology.
Technology, yes, it is technology, and technology in different mediums. Lifestyle, not so much, because lifestyle is the overall theme for the entire essay. So under that, we are talking about technology and how technology in total, with its different forms and mediums, such as transportation, gadgets, mobile phones, machines, devices, engineering, and so on and so forth, all of that under the parent body of technology have improved life collectively. And because of all of those things, we enjoy a lot of benefits today, right? And one example which I'm giving is to support transportation, so high speed transportation. This example supporting and making one particular point to demonstrate that how technology has come very far now, and we are benefiting from that, right? The same structure as before with the topic sentence, the supporting statements, the examples, and the closing statement. So in this case, this is the closing part that has resulted in unimaginable and heightened lifestyle benefits. So once again, closing the entire paragraph, summarizing that in one quick short line, and then after that, I move on to the conclusion part. So let's read the conclusion, please.
To conclude, it is undoubtedly true that the present day standard of living is substantially better than the olden days. In my opinion, the progression in healthcare, engineering, and communication have surpassed the previous days and have enhanced the overall life quality in the 21st century.
Thank you so much, Parvati. So once again, what you see here, the first line is a direct paraphrase of the question prompt itself. This and this, they mean the exact same thing. It's conveying the same point, just in different words, in different structures and so on, but conveying the same exact meaning. After that, I'm concluding, I'm making my position very clear. Just a second. Yeah, okay. I'm making my position very clear that in my opinion, the progression of healthcare, so once again, relating to the first body paragraph, right? Engineering and communication relating to the second body paragraph have surpassed the previous days and have enhanced the overall quality of life in the 21st century. So do you start to see how the entire essay is woven with each other? Because from the beginning, there are references to the body paragraph. Once again, when we conclude, there are references to the introduction and to the body paragraphs in total. So this is an example of a well-written, well-structured essay with 4 paragraphs with a clear sequence and structure and a clear division of content and data, right? So each paragraph is conveying a clear point. Let's move on to the next essay and let's understand in this case a partial agreement, right? I partially agree. I agree 70%, but do not fully agree to this point because I feel that not everything is great about the 21st century and some points were good before. So let's read a sample essay, a partial agreement essay. In this case, we will follow a 5 paragraph structure with 3 body paragraphs because I agree 70%, right? So my first 2 paragraphs will be in favor of the agreement, the points which I agree on. And the third paragraph, which we see here, the third body paragraph will be about disagreement. So depending on how much of weight I'm giving, I have to assign the paragraph accordingly, right? So each paragraph has to have a central theme to that. Let's move on. Let's read a sample essay before this. Of course, it's the same essay as before. The only difference is what you see in red. That is the only difference between a completely agreement essay, a full agreement essay, and a partial agreement essay. So you can see that the topic, the thesis statement has changed here. That in my opinion, despite the evolution, it is not the only element contributing to a comfortable or healthy life. So that's not the only reason, the advancements, and life is not necessarily good just because of that, right? These 2 paragraphs same as before, but they are once again cut short because I'm adding another paragraph and I need to keep the word count in mind. I can eliminate certain things from the paragraphs before, right? This paragraph is new. This is talking about the disagreement Why I feel that it's not entirely good? Because these developments have several drawbacks. Due to the rapid facilities, humans have formed an extremely sedentary lifestyle where we have become very inactive in nature, and that has caused a lot of health issues such as obesity or health problems, which was not that common before, right? Because people were hardworking, we used to do a lot of work manually, and we were in the best of our health. However, because of the lifestyle today, we face numerous unnecessary issues in health, right? And they've also caused catastrophic environmental problems. So, because of transportation, because of all this technology which is taking place, we are facing problems of global warming and pollution. So, a small paragraph indicating my view on disagreement to that, very briefly, in 2 or 3 lines. And with that, I conclude my essay and I say that once again, this particular part is the only part that has changed from the previous conclusion, that in my opinion, although the progression in healthcare engineering has developed and enhanced, they have parallelly created a new set of impediments, a new set of problems with their own complications, right? So once again, this is tackling the question, partial agreement, partial disagreement. 70% I agree, so 2 paragraphs to agree for that, 1 paragraph disagreeing for my particular point to make my position clear, and my statements are referencing them very clearly from the beginning to the end, right? So that is the difference between a full agreement or a full or a partial agreement essay. So similarly, once you know these techniques, you can work it out depending on your point of view and you can write it down accordingly.